Hello and welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have a new and special guest with us, Jason Weber. Jason is CEO of Alianza Minerals, which can be traded as ANZ on the TSX Venture. Thanks, Jason, for being here with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jeff.
So the goal of Alianza is to generate a new discovery. One of the things that I noticed with this company, which sets you apart, is that you have a lot of active projects. So take us through what you got, who you guys are working with, some of the companies, and what's the active projects that you're working on.
Yeah, it's been sort of the culmination of a few years work through the downturn here in our business, but I think it's all starting to bear fruit for us right now. And not in specific terms, talking about three projects we have in Nevada, BP, Bellevue, and Horse Thief, that we've optioned to Hochschild Mining, a Peruvian-based silver, dominantly silver, but also into gold mining company. And then another project that we call Tim in the Yukon, which we've optioned to Coeur. Those projects are sort of the four that we have optioned out, but we also run with some 100% ourselves. And our highest profile project in that regard is called Haldane, which is a high-grade silver target in the Keno Silver District of the Yukon Territory. And sort of amongst those five projects, that's where the bulk of our news will come over the next year, and we're active on four of those projects as we speak.
Well, let's discuss first. Let's focus on this Haldane high-grade silver project in the Keno District. We know we've been following the Keno Hill Silver District for a while. Silver's been kind of underperforming gold, but now some smart investors are seeing that silver, there's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of opportunity in this high-grade Keno Hill Silver District. So take us through a little bit of the Haldane project and some of the exciting aspects of this project that you're finding here.
Yeah, I think what's neat about Haldane is that the fact that in the Yukon there's a lot of great geology, but much of it is helicopter access or fixed wing access. You don't have road access to your project, which not only eliminates or limits the time you can spend there in the field. It's tough to get at those places in the winter, but it also it shortens up the seasons that you're available to work, that timeline that you're available to work on projects. Where we're really fortunate with Haldane that we have road access right into the main area of the property. So that's something for me I think is really important on this project is we have road access, and being 20 some kilometers from the main part of the Keno Silver District, where most of the mining and processing of silver ores took place. We're right off the highway that leads into that area. So it's access is excellent, but we're just far enough out of the main part of that district that there was a little bit of work done in the sort of 1918 to late 1920s where there was some high-grade mining done, small operations, sort of 24 tons of material that averaged about 3,000 grams silver, and then another a smaller sample that was done 2.1 tons that ran 4,600 grams silver, so really high grade. But then the project just sort of sat for a while as everything focused back on the main Keno district. And so this project sat until basically we took an option on it, or acquired the project actually in last year in 2018. And it was the first real comprehensive look at the whole property that was done in, let's call it, recorded time. Back in the 20s, the old timers went straight into the high grade silver veins that were exposed in the creek valley bottoms on surface. But since that time, new groups would come in and they would do a little bit of work in one area of the project, and the next group would come in and do a little bit of work in another area. And we were able to take the whole property and take a bit of a holistic view at it and see what other targets we could generate on the property, and then start to rank those as far as what would be the priorities for drilling. And that's the approach we took last year, and we were very fortunate to, I think, expand the areas of interest that were known about, mainly the core part of the property, which we call the Mount Haldane vein system. But we were also able to find new targets, which potentially are parallel to the Mount Haldane vein system up to 3 kilometers away. So it's really opened up the property for us as far as exploration, number of targets, and led to the next step of assessing these targets in terms of ranking them as potential drill targets, which ones we'd go in first. And we just finished up a program last week at Haldane at the early part of July, and we're waiting for results from that to start putting together targets for drilling later this summer.
So drilling later this summer in the Keno Hill Silver District, or right outside there, this Haldane property. Also, you have this 3 active Nevada gold projects, and that's expected to have some drilling, I think Q4 2019. So what's so exciting about these Nevada gold projects that new people to Alianza should be aware of?
Well, I think the Nevada is always a great place to explore for gold. So that's pretty much goes without saying. But the 3 projects that we have that we've optioned to Hochschild Mining, 2 of them are at the southern end of the Carlin Trend. That's the BP and Bellevue property, both sort of in the vicinity of Kinross's Bald Mountain Mine. And then the third project is Horse Thief, which is further along, further to the south. Not really on a known gold trend, but it's in similar carbonate rocks of the same age to Newmont's Long Canyon deposit, which they purchased from Frontier back in the, I guess that was probably around 2012. I think it was for $2.2 billion that they purchased that project. And that's, they talk about a 3 million ounce gold deposit there now. And so Horse Thief, we're pretty excited about that one because it has some of the characteristics of Long Canyon. And one of the changes that's happened in Nevada in the last, call it 5 to 10 years, is the acknowledgement that these gold deposits, which occurred on known trends such as Carlin, are now being found elsewhere. And the term is off-trend gold deposits. Defining new trends is the way I look at it. And Long Canyon is one of those. And that discovery, I think, was really key in mining companies and explorationists recognizing that there are other areas within Nevada that can host significant gold deposits, and Long Canyon is that prime example of that. So at Horse Thief, we're down in the southern eastern part of the state, right near the Nevada border, and we're exploring a sediment-hosted gold project with a Long Canyon type signature. It's early days, but we're defining drill targets right now that we hope to get into to start drilling with our partner in Q4 of 2019. If not, it'll be early in 2020 that we get to test those with drilling.
Well, a lot of investors are looking for companies that are going to be exciting and that are going to provide news flow. Talk to us about what you see going forward. What shareholders and potential shareholders should expect from Alianza through the rest of 2019.
Yeah, so we just finished up our first phases of work at Horse Thief and Bellevue, and we're in the midst of field work at BP. So those are the 3 Nevada gold projects that results will be trickling in through the rest of the summer on those, and there'll be more work specifically at Horse Thief and BP that'll occur through the summer. We might take August off just to collect thoughts and put together targets for Horse Thief, but be back in at BP in September. So there'll be results from those programs, plus the startup of the next phases, and hopefully that includes drilling at Horse Thief in the fall. As far as the more northern projects in the Yukon, we've got Haldane, as I said, with drilling starting up probably sometime in the mid-August time range. So that program will run probably a month. So we're looking at mid-September, and then a few weeks after that, drill results starting to come in. And then we have a couple other projects, Tim, which is a silver property option to Coeur. They'll be working that late in the summer. I don't expect that to be a very big program, but there'll be a program that'll have results nonetheless. And we've got a little project in northern BC in the Golden Triangle we call KRL, which is a high grade gold target. We sampled 122 grams per ton gold from quartz veins last year. There we'll be running a program there probably in September. So still lots of exploration to go through the rest of the summer here, and then the results of those programs as we continue through into the fall. And then as we discussed earlier, the potential for drilling to start later in the fall at Horse Thief would also add news flow to that timeline. The other part of the sort of the strategy for us is, as I joint venture projects out, or we work projects ourselves internally, and we decide that those projects maybe aren't worth continuing on, I'm always looking for the next project to bring in to develop to become the next, hopefully, drill target for the company. And so we're actively evaluating new projects all the time. So at any point in this timeline, we could have another new project added to the mix. I'm always marketing, so we could have new projects optioned out to partners as well. So that just adds a little bit more news for our investors to keep updated on.
Jason, if you could talk about the team that's behind Alianza and their expertise in early stage gold and silver exploration.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story, the way Alianza came together. It's really the combination of two companies, Tarsus Resources, which had projects in the Yukon and Nevada, and then Australia Gold, which had projects in South America, which I haven't even talked about, but we do have projects down there that I'm actively marketing in Peru right now. And we put the two companies together, and at the time, I was running Australia Gold, and another fellow by the name of Mark Blythe was running Tarsus. We put the two companies together, called it Alianza, and Mark Blythe is still on the board of Alianza. He was the part of bringing in the Yukon projects that we have, including Tim, which is that option to Coeur. And then on the Australia side, the Peruvian projects, the previous CEO, the CEO I took over for, John, he's been involved in the company for a very long time. He's still involved as a director today. So I've got the two previous CEOs of the company still very close to me, who I can call on for advice and help, and sort of that corporate memory of some of the projects. And as you can imagine, through the downturn, not all the projects can get worked. So it's nice having those guys there to fall back on for where's the next target, where do we go next, what's the next program. And they've been a very great help for me as we move Alianza forward. For myself personally, I've been operating junior companies that have largely used the joint venture business model in BC and Alaska and the Yukon for 20 plus years, and I was involved with Rimfire Minerals, which eventually became Kiska Metals. In Rimfire's days, we did over $30 million in exploration, with 85% of that funded by third parties, which included Newmont, Barrick, Anglo Gold, and a whole list of producers. And one of the things that I sort of developed early on in my career is I look at this business as a bit of the way you build partnerships and move forward is do good exploration based on sound science. And if there's a deposit to be found, hopefully you find it. But if not, if your partner can see that the process is good and the work you do is solid, they're going to come back to you again. So it's a way of building repeat business. And that's, I think, really important, as some groups take the approach that you do a deal with a partner, the project fails, and that's the end of the relationship. And then you got to do all that work again to find a new partner to come in on your next set of projects. I like to keep those relationships strong and open, and that allows us to find projects that we know our partners are probably going to be interested in, and we can keep doing deals with those same groups. And I think that makes, as you learn to work with a group, you can use the expertise that comes from them. And I think that's really important for a small company like ours. We can access the expertise then of our partner, these bigger companies, and really leverage that into our projects. And I think in the end, that's what's going to help make us more successful.
Jason Weber, CEO of Alianza Minerals, which can be traded as ANZ on the TSX Venture. How do investors get in touch with you, Jason, to learn more, or if they want to get more information? What's the best way of getting in touch with the company or with you?
Sending an email works great, either to me directly, which is just jweber@alianzaminerals.com, or they can go through our website, which is info@alianzaminerals.com, and Sandrine in our office will make sure that email gets to me, or they can phone us at the office here, which if I'm not in the field, I'm here to answer it, and I'd love to keep people updated that way.
And just as a final reminder, the shares are tightly held. I think that there's close to 37% is held by close major shareholders, and you just were able to close a 1.1 million financing, which is pretty exciting in July, in early July. So great work, Jason, and thank you so much for being here with us today and for giving us an introduction to the Alianza Minerals story.
Yes, no, thank you, Jeff, and available anytime.